Hello everyone and welcome to the round 16 lockout Q&A stream. How are you all going? Let me make my team a little bit more bigger on screen for you guys. Oh, that's not what I want to do. There we go. Now I can see all the chat. Thanks everyone for joining in. Yeah, we'll get to your questions just in a second. Just want to say a massive thank you to Tyler and also to Moz. Both have joined as members, which is amazing. Really appreciate your support, guys. That's truly means a lot. Boost for Anderson. Let's go. Yeah, so we'll quickly rattle off the Storm Manly team list. So yeah, Ryan Papenhuyzen is in at starting fullback. Nick Meaney's moved to the wing. Dean Eremaya though has moved to the bench. So I have a feeling Papenhuyzen might not play the full game. You know, they might just put Meaney to fullback and then put Eremaya when he comes onto the field in the wing spot. So Papenhuyzen, look, it's tempting to get him this week, but I think it's not the easiest opposition. First game back. I think if you can avoid getting him back, you can avoid it. Obviously, if you're way back in rankings, you want to try and make a big push. Going for Papenhuyzen this week is a massive pod play. But I just think with Eremaya on the bench there, I feel like he might not play the full 80. So that's something to think about if you are still looking to bring in Paps for this week. Boost for Anderson. Yeah, look, Anderson, he's locked into the wing spot. So I've, in terms of my trade for this week, excuse me, I posted it on Twitter. So I've done Cooler for Anderson. And I did it via duels with Joey Manu. So I'll quickly scroll down to the bottom here. So I had Cooler in my fullback spot. I've swapped him with Joey Manu. So that let me buy an Anderson in my center wing. So that's how I've done that trade. And yeah, look, I'm not going to play him today, but he looks a good option. You know, he's 175k. Looks like he should be playing for us in round 17, which is really the big kicker. And then he won't become an 80 nightmare because, look, he's a winger for the Storm, so he's likely to still get attacking stats. If not, Xavier Coates will come back, and then Anderson might get dropped out of the team altogether. So I don't really see too much downside with going for Anderson. So yeah, I like it. I see Tajo asking boost for Anderson. Oh, if you're using a last, surely you have a different priority of trades where you don't have to boost for him, ideally. But yeah, look, he looks a good buy for this week for sure. Sandy, to answer your question, is Haas in or out? So based on team list, he's playing at the moment. He's starting. Obviously, final team list will reveal if he's actually going to play. But from all that we know, I haven't heard any late mail to suggest that he's out. So for now, he is playing. I've got a bit of a reserve dilemma on my hands as well. I'll answer some of your questions before I go through my own team dilemmas as well. But I'm also not sure whether I play Payne Haas this week or not. I feel like if he plays even a banged up Payne Haas, I know he's very banged up, he could still pump out like 50 points, which might be fine for reserve. So yeah, a little bit unsure on that particular move. But anyway, that's enough of my rambling. Maybe last thing to cover off in terms of captaincy and vice captaincy, what I'm looking to do for this week. So I think if it looks like it's relatively dry on Friday, Panthers at home, I think I will captain Cleary. If it looks like there's a bit of rain, maybe I'll just go for a vice captaincy on Cleary, and then I'll put it on Nico Hines and my captaincy. It'll be one of the two. I don't think I'm going to be going anywhere else. But yeah, at the moment, my initial thought was Cleary captain, so I'm on that for now. All right, let's start getting into some of your questions. Big G's. I hope you don't regret getting Pappy this week. Look, getting Papenhuyzen this week, it could be a massive play. I think majority of people, though, won't be doing it. Nothing like Christmas in July with Isaiah Tass appearing from literally nowhere to possibly play round 17. Yeah, so if you guys haven't seen the late mail, there is word that Isaiah Tass will play round 17 now and Tane Milne will drop out for him. That would be awesome. We just get him for round 17. So boost the numbers up just a slightly bit more. All right, we'll start getting into your questions now. Apologies, I've still got a bit of a lingering cough. So if I have to go away for a cough, then that's the reason why. Oh, massive thank you to Metalhead Smurf and to Gazaraki. Both have also just become members as well, mate. really appreciate that, guys. That is a massive thank you so much for that. All right, let's start getting into some questions. So let's see. I'm a little bit out of order, but I'll try to get to everyone. So Moz asking, worth chucking reserve on Madison? Yeah, I think Madison, so the original talk is that he was going to be potentially ruled out with his rib cartilage, although Physio posted somewhere that he was looking more and more likely that Madison would play. I feel like even if Madison does have a bit of a rib complaint, he's such a solid worker. I feel like if they've deemed him fit enough to be on the field, I feel like you probably just have to play him, Moz. He's that kind of guy who can bust out offloads, all that kind of stuff as well. So I feel like he's got a pretty high floor, so I don't think it's too risky playing him. So I'd probably, and if you said you don't have anyone else you can swap, then yeah, I'd probably say that I feel like it would just about be okay playing Madison. Onto his Eels teammate from Tyler, which says Sean Lane worth bringing in. Now, I don't really love the second row forward position this week. So a few people are asking about, Isaac Dang-o. I'm trying to get that pronunciation right. Someone did comment on my last video. So he's looking at, some paycheck is looking at Dang-o to Barnett. And Tyler's asking about Sean Lane. So we might have a bit of a general discussion around 2RFs, just because I think a few people might be thinking about 2RFs. I was in a similar position. So I have Ewan Aitken. I was going to sell him this week, but the late mail is that he'll actually get moved back into the back row. And then he's versing the Tigers, so I actually think he's an okay play this week. So I'm actually going to hold Aitken for this week. For 2RF, for round 17 coverage specifically, I want Madison. He's the main guy that I want, but because there's a bit of a doubt over him this week, I don't feel comfortable going for him just yet this week. I can afford it with the cash that I've got in the bank. So if you're looking elsewhere, you've got Sean Lane, Mitch Barnett, Koloamatangi, maybe Tyson Frizzell. I've heard a few people even talk about maybe Jack DeBellin. There's a few options kind of going around there. I don't mind the Sean Lane punt if you're going, if you've got the intention of you're going for a pod play, Tyler. The main reason is because I think he's definitely in a purple patch, and the Eels' short-term draw is actually quite nice. I think they've got Rabbitohs, they've got like the Tigers, they've got the Warriors coming up. So I feel like him and Dylan Brown are having a really good combination, and so I think it's just about worth going for Sean Lane. The reason I'm not doing it personally is because I think Aitken should be an okay play this week. And I also think next week, if I want Madison, I can get him a little bit cheaper. And at that point, if Madison does play this week, I'd expect that the prices of Lane and Madison to come a little bit closer together, at which point I'll just say I'm going to go for Madison. So that's kind of why I'm not going for Sean Lane this week. But I think he probably is the best higher upside 2RF out there. If you are looking cheaper, so for example, someone was asking about Dang-o to Barnett. I don't mind that if you are going for round 17 coverage. Barnett won't be goal kicking by the sound of it. It looks like it will be Tex Hoy. But Dan Safidi's back as well for the Knights. So I feel like, is that going to eat into minutes potentially? So again, I feel like it's worth waiting a week if you can avoid it. And so for example, Dang-o, I don't personally love that trade because I still think Dang-o is a decent option. It's got the duel. Like, I would only feel comfortable trading out Dang-o for, like, in my eyes, a genuine gun, like a Cam Murray, a Ryan Madison type caliber player. I don't think Barnett is quite at that level. So I personally don't love that particular move, paycheck, just you asked before. And in terms of Koloamatangi, again, tough draw for the rest of the season. I would prefer Mitch Barnett to Koloamatangi. The Knights actually have a slightly better draw for the rest of the season. Koloamatangi is a bit safer for minutes, though. That's one thing in his favour. So yeah, I think Barnett playing on the left edge does help because Ponga probably will go down that edge whenever he plays. He's obviously not playing for this week. But yeah, I think I just about prefer Barnett to Koloamatangi. Koloamatangi hasn't really shown a lot for quite a while after his pretty hot start to the season. So at least Barnett has got the higher floor. So yeah, I'd just about edge it to Barnett over Koloamatangi. So my kind of rankings, I guess you want to call it that, I'd probably say Sean Lane is the best one, then Barnett, then Koloamatangi in that order. But Madison, I feel like, is the best guy overall. So I'd be waiting for him personally. Anyway, that's been my rant on 2RF. So apologies if I wasn't able to address specific questions on that. But hopefully that helped you guys out just a tad. Riley's asking Dylan Brown or Jerome Hughes. Oof, that is a great question. I think Eels' run home for the rest of the season is slightly better than the Melbourne Storm. So if you look at Dylan Brown, he's got games against Tigers, Warriors coming up. Also got Manly, which is okay. Bulldogs is pretty decent. And Rabbitohs twice, which you can consider maybe an okay matchup. If you look at the Storm in comparison, their very last end stretch of the season is a bit tougher. But you also have to consider they are a slightly better team as well, right? They do have games against the Warriors and the Titans. But then that, Panthers, Broncos, Roosters, Para. The reason I was very tempted by Jerome Hughes about an hour ago, about doing Munster to Jerome Hughes. The reason I've cooled off on that thought is I think I'm going to want Tedesco in round 18 when he's got the Dragons, and he's also got games that are pretty easy as well. And the thing with the Melbourne Storm is I feel like last back end of the season, if you've got Munster, Grant, Jerome Hughes and Ryan Pappenhausen, there could be issues with restings towards the really later stage of the season. And at that point, if you don't have, say, trades, it could just be a bit of a nightmare where if all of a sudden you've lost 4 players, it's a bit of a weird reason to say, oh, don't go for Hughes, because I think Hughes will do really well. I think him and Tedesco will probably average about the same. But if I quickly bring up, say, the Roosters draw for back end of the season, I don't think Tedesco is going to get rested as much now because I think Roosters, we're going to have to try to chase for top 8. So if you look at Tedesco with Dragons, Knights, West Tigers is in there. There are some tough games against Cowboys and the Broncos, but today's going to be his toughest match, you'd say, for the rest of the season in terms of the Panthers. Melbourne in 24 will be tough, but he's been still getting decent points. This is Angus's scores, but Tedesco has still been doing the business, even in the tough games. So I'm personally just leaning Tedesco because I think I'm going to want to have Munster, Grant, and Pappenhausen. Do I want a fourth Melbourne Storm spines player? I feel like it's just a bit concentration risk, but it's a really, really tough one. I think I've landed on preferring Tedesco though over Hughes. James, thank you so much. James Ransom Haberley, another member, mate. Really, really appreciate this. This is amazing, guys. Thank you so much for all the support. All right, let's scroll around. Let's try and answer some more questions. Hey, Hassan says, hey, Martin, I need to play 2 out of Mam, Anderson, Karaz, and Stags. Stags has got the Cowboys, but I feel like Stags is a bit of a perma play, isn't he? Cowboys are tough. Karaz has the Sharks, not the easiest. Anderson's playing tonight. Mam's got the Cowboys. Yeah, not ideal, Hassan, really. I think... I think Mam has got upside. I think Mam and Anderson is a bit of a flip of the coin. Probably would just about say Mam. He's got slightly higher upside. Given he's playing in the halves, more likely to get try assists and things. So I'd probably play Mam. Karaz has got a pretty decent floor, and the Sharks still don't look amazing. Man, that's a tough one. That is a really, really tough one. I think I would say Mam and Stags. I feel like Stags is that guy who can still break open a game on his own and has upside as well. I'd say Mam and Stags, but I'm not super confident in that, Hassan, sorry. Last reserve out of Max King, Talakai, McInnes, Mam, and Karaz. Again, similar question. I'd say out of that, it's probably one of McInnes, Max King, or Talakai. Talakai does have the matchup. I would just about give it to Talakai. I think his low is about a 40. His high is a little bit higher than that. Max King is around a 50-60, so I feel like maybe just go for the upside, Harry, on that one. Toby, you have 18 trades and really set on Munster, Cooler, and Aitken to Pap, Anderson, and Barnett. Yeah, look, Toby, you've got 18 trades, so I feel like selling Munster is worthwhile for you because you can, with your trades, you can get him back. I think if you're in that situation, I would pull the trigger. I know Paps is a bit of a risk, but you can afford it by going Munster out this week, and I feel like you've got trades to play with, so I don't mind that at all, Toby. Actually, you can kind of maybe get one step ahead, getting on Paps a little bit earlier. All right, let's jump around to some more questions. What do you reckon, Aman? Manly 13 plus. Yeah, look, if Manly want to beat the Storm, this is the best week without Munster to get him. Manly been playing good, but then they had that bit of a hiccup against the Cowboys. I would just about tip the Storm. I think they're just going to be a little bit too classy for this Eagles tonight. Reserve Karaz. Yeah, look, I'm not personally reserving Karaz, so I don't think he's the ideal one, even with a decent floor. Sharks still relatively tough. Planning to trade out Cobbo for Pappy, and Cobbo's break-even is also really high. Do I just do the trade this week anyways if you have the funds? Yeah, what is Cobbo's break-even? Because I feel like against the Cowboys, he would start to lose cash. 118 break-even. This is a situation where I'd say it's okay to do that, Waylord, because whatever cash loss that Pappy has, Cobbo might have the same thing anyway. So I feel like you may as well bank the points this week with Pappenhausen potentially. So I don't mind doing that this week if you got the funds, Waylord. Would you go Munster to Jerome Hughes? So I kind of spoke about a little bit more. I think if you're going Munster to Jerome Hughes, 2 things. Just be conscious that if you need to sell Munster and you want to get him back later, that's obviously going to be 2 trades to use versus, say, holding him. And with Jerome Hughes, you're probably locking in him at halfback with Cleary, and then you've got likely Hines and Pappenhausen. So you kind of have to make a call of Jerome Hughes or, say, Tedesco, for example, if you want. So I don't mind that move if you are chasing and say you've got trades and you want to get that round 17 coverage. I've mentioned it a couple of times. I think round 17 in the halfback spot, with Moses and Hughes, is going to be a spot where not many people will have them. So I feel like they are really nice pods to have. Pods who are lower owned for that specific bye week who have got upside. They're really great options for those particular weeks. I'm not doing it though because I've got 12 trades. I already want to get in Paps, Madison, Harry Grant. I might want to get Cam Murray in. I might want to get Tedesco in. I'm already counting 5 guys, maybe even Toto, 6 guys who I might want to bring in with 12 trades. Assume some trades to free up funds. I feel like I don't have the luxury of flipping Munster and getting him back in. So I'm personally not doing that move for that particular reason. Okay, I'm all over the place with my questions, guys. Apologies. No Munster tonight. Yep, so Munster's out obviously this week. Where's my guy Jack Howarth? Yeah, I know I really want Jack Howarth to be playing, but I don't think it's going to be happening, Moz. unfortunately. Talakai, Thungo, or McInnes, you can play 2. You need to leave 1 out. So I've got similar thing, Hiddy. I'm leaving out McInnes at the moment, and I'm playing Thungo and I'm playing Talakai. Talakai's just got slightly higher upside, and Thungo's playing for a better team. That's my rationale. Now, my main consideration this week is the last reserve of Cam McInnes, Payne Haas, or Ezra Mam, or Karaz. So let me know in the chat, guys, what you think about that one, because I'm a little bit torn. Like Payne Haas, if he starts, I feel like, yes, I can play him. If he doesn't play, obviously I'd switch it to McInnes. But the thing is that I think the Sharks play before the Broncos. Yeah, they play the game before. And as do the Bulldogs. So I'll have to actually switch around Payne Haas and Max King. So that's my decision. I don't have to make that call tonight. But yeah, that's one thing I'm kind of thinking and deliberating over. Is it too late to bring in Ezra Mam? He's 375k. He's gone up a lot in price, but he looks like he'll cover round 17. It looks like he's kind of won this spot. I don't mind it if you're looking for a downgrade, but I feel like soon he's going to be a trade out again. So I probably would just about say it's a bit too late. Oh, massive shout out to Mitchell Ryan. Thank you so much for joining the memberships, mate. You guys have all been so supportive on this stream. It's been awesome. Thank you so much. How are you planning to get Paps in? So what I'm looking to do probably next week. So I've got 300k in the bank. So next week, what I'll probably do is sell Karaz once he's made a bit more cash, swap him to fullback via Joey Manu, bring in Paps that way. I'll fund that by probably doing one of, like, say, Aitken or Thungo down to a cheapie. Hopefully we get a cheapie for round 17. And I can use the third trade to do another mid-ranger down to a cheapie as well. And then if I need to boost, I can maybe boost if I've got enough money to upgrade someone to a Ryan Madison. Like I might be able to upgrade, I don't know who I might upgrade to. Like what I might do is Karaz, Thungo, and Aitken out for a cheapie, Pappenhausen and Madison, and then fund that by doing maybe Payne Haas downgrade next week, for example. That's one way I've thought about it. So I might be boosting next week, but it might be boosting to be getting in Pappenhausen and Madison, and 2 maybe round 17 cheapies as well. So I feel like that's an okay use of a boost. So that's my rough plan at the moment to get in Paps. 600k, who to get, either a centre wing or a front row forward. I'd be definitely trying to maybe use the money at centre wing, like To'o, if you can stretch up an extra little bit. I feel like To'o, this is the last week to get him for a while because, yeah, I miss that guy. I miss having him in my team. I had him from like round 2 of last year and had him the whole way through, and I really, really miss him. Okay, Cotter a must sell. Definitely not a must sell, but he could be sold. But there's just not a lot of options at hooker. If you got him in 2RF, you can maybe sell him for like your Barnetts, your Shawnanes, maybe a Madison next week. He's not going to lose cash, so you can maybe hold off on that for that week. But he's definitely not a must sell. I know a few people who are literally holding Cotter to sell him to Harry Grant in round 18. So that could be a good reason why to hold on to him as well. Karaz, Penasini, or Suwali as last reserve. I'd probably say Penasini. He's probably got the best matchup on paper. Paycheck. What about trade out Aitken for Curran? No, that feels very sideways, Luke. I wouldn't be doing 8 for Curran. If I was just trading out Aitken, I feel like I'd be doing it for a round 17 guy. Feels a bit sideways in my opinion. Okay, scale again. So you're saying you've had 21 trades. Okay, if you've got 21 trades, I think you can definitely sell someone like Cotter. You've got a lot of trades to play with there. So I'd be a bit more aggressive at this point. So yeah, selling Cotter, boosting to get rid of Campbell to Paps. If that's Campbell Graham, I wouldn't do that because we'll cover next week. So you're doing Cooler to Anderson, Campbell to Paps. I don't love that because you're losing a round 17 guy for another one. Munster to Mam. I feel like if I'd sell Munster, I'd want to be getting an equivalent guy there like a Hughes. Could you not maybe do Cooler to Anderson, Munster to Jerome Hughes via duels? I guess Ezra Mam might have to be that way. Or maybe Munster to like a Dylan Brown. So you could do Cooler to Anderson, Munster to Dylan Brown, keep Campbell Graham, maybe just sell Cotter for another cheapie, and then next week you can just do any centre wing for Pappenhausen if you've got the duels. I'd maybe think about doing that way because I don't think you need to buy Paps this week. Aman, why do you think Ermire is on the bench? Could Paps maybe be on reduced minutes? Yeah, we discussed that just at the beginning of the stream. So yeah, I think with Ermire on the bench, it looks like he could just come in maybe after 60 minutes. Nick Meaney back to fullback. Ermire takes a spot in the wing and Paps gets a bit of an early mark. So that's again another risk to consider if you are looking to go with Paps this week. You might not play the full 80. Should you hold Tupou? High break even, not averaging 60 plus, and won't play 17 either. Yeah, I think Tupou is a decent sell. I know the Roosters have got good games on the other side, but I don't see him as like a season keeper. Um, so say for example in round 18 he's got decent matchups. Yeah, if you got the cash, you could sell him for like a To'o. That'd be a nice upgrade. If you want a round 17 guy, there's plenty like Sione Katoa. Mulatalo's a bit pricier now. Maybe Campbell Graham, but they haven't looked the best, the Rabbitohs. So, yeah, Metalhead kind of depends who you need to buy. I would really like to get To'o. So I think Tupou to To'o, if you've got the cash, would be a nice trade in my opinion. Thoughts on Manu playing halves? Do you think this will help or kill his stats? Yeah, his running stats will probably be a little bit down, but he could have more playmaking stats. So I feel like it's kind of a 50-50. Because I feel like even as a 5'8", like Walker will be the halfback and controlling things. So Manu still might have the license to run. So I feel like he'll kind of might balance out. I feel like I'm predicting maybe a 60 from Manu. You know, maybe one try assist, a few tackle breaks in there. And that might get him into, you know, a 60-point score. That fat guy, welcome to the membership, mate. Yeah, this is awesome. You guys have been so supportive. I'm loving these usernames as well. That fat guy is great. Metalhead Smurf is awesome. A few of you guys are okay. Mitchell Ryan, you know, it's just your name, but it's not as exciting as Metalhead Smurf, surely. But I'm just joking around, guys. Really appreciate it. And yeah, nice, funny usernames. All right, let's go into some more questions. So it's 7:24. So we've got about 35 more minutes. Actually, I need you guys' help. Can you guys help me decide on my last reserve as well? So Manu, Aitken, and Talaka, I think are all locked in. So it's really one of McInnes, Payne Haas, or Ezra Mam, or Karaz. I'm thinking it's either one of McInnes or Haas, just a bit safer. But yeah, let me know in the chat, guys. It would be helpful. Thanks for answering another question. Is it worth to boost to trade out Nat Butcher for Mitch Barnett? Ooh, using a boost. I get why you'd want to sell him this week. He does have that high break even, and he's off the bench. Oh, geez. But for Barnett, though, it feels a bit You know what I mean, Waylord? Like, I like boosting next week, but I think it is probably worth getting rid of Butcher this week. It kind of depends on what your other trades were. Could you maybe hold off one of your other trades to next week so you can avoid the boost? I feel like having the boost up your sleeve for next week or round 18 would be really handy. That's what I'm looking to do. Obviously not what I'm looking to do is necessarily the right thing, but yeah, my feeling is if you can hold on to that boost for next week, that would be really powerful. You can get in like 4 round 17 guys because you'll also have the certainty of like, you know, any cheapies for that week. So I see the appeal of it, but I'd maybe just about hold off and try to see if next week you can get just better value out of that boost. Would you do Cotter to Cook? I don't think I'd be doing Cotter to Cook just because Cook's going to miss round 17. Tough run home for the rest of the season. I'd also want to wait and see how Cook's role looks with Latrell coming back for the Rabbitohs. You know, last season we saw Cook was I've heard some quotes that apparently Wayne Bennett didn't really like him running the ball. It was more give the ball to Cody, give the ball to Latrell. Could be very different with Demetrius as the coach. But yeah, I personally would maybe wait at least a couple of weeks just to see how Cook looks post-Origin as well. You know, there's always that risk if you're buying any Origin player now. Next week they could get injured and then you might have to sell them again. So I'd personally hold off on that Alexander. Madison injured Alexander, just to answer your other question. So yeah, so there was some talk, there was some late mail that he's got a bit of a rib cartilage complaint, which could rule him out. But I've seen some updated info that says he could be more likely to play now. So there's some doubt lingering over him. So yeah, definitely try to set up your team so that if he is a late out, you can kind of reserve someone else who's half decent and not have to cop an AE. Haas Butcher to Tarpany and Anderson. Yeah, OT, I think those are pretty decent moves. I could buy Tarpany this week, but I think next week I'm looking to get in Madison and Paps, so I need to kind of keep that money in the bank. I can afford Haas to Tarpany, but yeah, I don't mind those moves. Tarpany and Anderson I think are pretty good buys for this week. Hold Josh King for round 17 if he's your other playing front forward with IPAP, or upgrade him now to Taps. No, I think if you're using the last boost especially, you've got one more week. He'll get round 17 coverage and then just bin him after that. I know it sucks. He's been benched again in the late team news. But yeah, Captain Hausen, great name by the way. I would probably be holding Josh King just for another week at least. Okay, let's. I think my chat just completely refreshed. So I've gone just down to the bottom. Karaz is your last reserve. Okay, someone said Karaz as my last reserve. Haas or Karaz for the upside. Yeah, I mean Sharks. You know what? Let's have a quick look at position scoring. I use this time to time. I probably need to look at it a bit more. So NRL SuperCoach Stats. You can see position versus team. So Sharkies to centers have been pretty good. 13th best. Sorry, 13th. So there's only a few other teams who are better at defending center wings compared to others. Cowboys versus front row forward. I mean, front row forward doesn't really make a difference, right? That much. Who else was I considering? I was considering Ezra Mam. Cowboys pretty decent defense again. And the other one was McInnes. Oh, interesting. So the Bulldogs concede the most points to hookers. So does that mean I play McInnes? Something to think about. Hassan is saying McInnes. I'll give it some thought. I don't need to make the decision tonight. I can wait off until like tomorrow or even Saturday. I can make that decision. So I'll give it some time to think about it. But yeah, appreciate all you guys putting your suggestions in as well. Someone saying, yeah, Mitchell is saying McInnes over Haas. Yeah, probably. I think just with Haas's doubts and his niggling injuries. McInnes also has his doubts though now with Finucane back. It's kind of annoying, isn't it? As a Sharks fan, so no bias here, absolutely no bias. McInnes for sure, he was about to break some lines like he did versus the Roosters. I'm sensing a bit of bias there, shades of red. Wouldn't your name be shades of blue? Anyway, yeah, he did score that try against the Roosters. Bulldogs have been good, but they could be weak in the middle. I'll give it some thought. Hey man, you need to leave one out, thanks. Clemmer, Tongo, Swali and Karaz. Okay, I'd probably leave out Swali and Karaz, so it's probably one of Clemmer or Tongo. Tung-or. I'm trying to get that pronunciation down. Clemmer, I mean, you don't have to make the decision today, I guess, as well. You can wait till tomorrow. Clemmer's going to give you like 60, 65. Tongo is probably going to give you about the same. With Dan Safidi back, does that impact Clemmer just a little bit? Oh, like Isaac is going to be running at, who's he running at? He'll be running at the right center. Manu won't be there. He'll be running at, oh god, he'll be running at Momorowski, won't he? Oh man, Tongo could have a field day. I'd maybe on that alone, I'd maybe just say play Tongo. Last reserve, Targo, Barnett, or Cody Walker. Got it on Barnett at the moment. Yeah, I'd probably agree with you, Toby. It's a good match against the Titans as well. I should think about that for Barnett. So definitely could be getting some attacking stats tomorrow as well. Put Paps as captain. Oh, mate. Jessica, it's not even... Captain Housen is not even suggesting Paps as captain. No, I think it's too risky. With Eremire on the bench as well, it looks like he might not play the full 80. So I feel like it's a bit too much of a risk, I think, to captain Pappenhausen, in my opinion. Damon's saying man. Okay, so I'm getting all the suggestions of reserve. So yeah, I'll have to give it some thought. I'll decide on Saturday. What is Hines break even? Thinking of selling him to Big Pappy. Oh no, I don't love this. I don't like selling Hines. He does have a high break even, 88. Oh, he can hit 88 against the Bulldogs. Karen, I don't like that either, because the thing is, Hines has been 18th man for the Blues the last 2 games. On the off chance that he's not, he would be available next week, and he would be one of the most highly owned and captain players. I feel like that can really punish you if you sell him. And especially for Pappy this week with his doubts as well. So I definitely wouldn't advocate that move. Play Haas, Max King, or Lolo. I wouldn't play Haas out of those 3, Lachlan. So it'd be one of Max King or Lolo. Lolo's probably the safest for minutes, I guess, with no Cotter. What did he play last week in terms of minutes? Let me have a quick look for you. Also, this website, guys, if you don't use this website for SC, this is a gold mine. So he played 68 minutes last week. So his last 3 games, he's definitely played big minutes. 66, 73, and 68. I think I'd play Tamalolo just for the... I think he hasn't scored a try yet all season, has he? I feel like he's due. He's definitely gone close a couple of times. So I'd probably say Lolo to that question from Lachlan. Thung or out, Lane in. Lane, a few people asking about Lane. I don't like the... I mentioned it previously as well. I think if you are selling Targo, I don't like selling him for like someone I don't consider top tier, if that makes sense. Lane is in some hot form. I will give you that. If you are short on round 17 numbers, then I don't hate it. But I'm personally looking at maybe selling him next week for Madison. I feel like Madison is the safer long-term option. Could be wrong with that, but I feel like he's the one who I want. Although some doubts, I guess, rib cartilage it's always one of those injuries I think that's, it's a bit niggly. Is that the right word? I don't know. Like I feel like apparently it's very painful and it lingers around. So I don't hate it. Soothing music. Again, I like that name. But I'm personally waiting to get Madison next week. So I'd say I'm okay with it. Don't love it. Kind of depends on your team. If you're really short on round 17 numbers and you want to push hard for it, then I'd say yeah, it's probably just about worth it. Stags or Sevo next week? I'd probably go Sevo, Flynn. I think he's just got the upside. Stags have been a bit of a frustrating one. What's the Broncos draw like? I haven't really paid much attention to their draw for the rest of the season. It's not bad. You got Dragons, Titans, Para, Tigers, Knights is in there. It's not bad. Stags could be a pod for the run home. I think Sevo, though, has probably got a bit more upside about him. So I'd probably just about say Sevo, but if it's for next week, then I'll defer that question to answer next week. Last reserve, Max King or Man. Oh, that fat guy, I'd probably say Max King. I'd be pretty comfortable with that one. Cooler to Lomax. Don't hate it. I don't hate it. You're getting in a round 17 guy. I own Lomax, but I personally feel like I've not been overly thrilled with Lomax. I know he's done well the last few weeks, but he's got some attacking stats which he hasn't really gotten for the majority of the season, and Dragons are just very inconsistent. Like, I feel like I'd prefer probably going for like a To'o, even a Katoa from the Sharks, maybe a Mulatalo. I feel like I prefer slightly ahead of him. So, yeah, I don't mind the move, Jessica, because you are getting a round 17 guy, and Lomax is still solid. He's averaging 62 for the season. Just have a quick look at the Dragons draw. So you've got, it's not the easiest draw either. That's the thing. So you've got Raiders is not that easy. Then you've got the Broncos, Roosters, Manly, Cowboys, Sharks, Raiders again. I really don't love that draw. So no, I think after looking at that, I'd probably encourage to not go for Lomax and instead go for another round 17 guy. Like, I know the Sharks have a pretty tough next few weeks coming up, but their end of season is awesome. So I do like going for maybe like a Katoa instead of a Lomax, Jessica. Toby, welcome. Oh, mate, another member. You guys have been so supportive. And we've got emojis. Love it. Yeah, so there's a few emojis for members. So I put them together. So yeah, one of them is What a Man. So I want to, a bit of a pun on my name. Plus, if you had a player who does well for you, Toby, if you buy Pappenhausen this week and he kills it for you, what a man, right? And it's a pun on my name. I thought it was perfect. We've got a green arrow emoji. So yeah, if you've got green arrows on the roundup streams, you can chuck them in there. Pretty sure there's a red arrow as well. And there's also a poem request emoji if you want that. So yeah, bit of a fun gimmick I put together. Townsend to Dylan Brown, Valea to Anderson, and Cody Ramsey to Will Kennedy. I like the first two. I don't know about doing Ramsey to Kennedy. I feel like it's a bit sideways. Ramsey will cover round 17, and he's looking pretty good, to be fair. So I like the first two, Chumpy, but not the Ramsey to Kennedy. Sell Cotter to Taps or just hold until he comes back. Head-to-head player, so thinking of gaining advantage this week. Yeah, look, if you're a head-to-head player, Karen, I would say Taps is a good buy because he's a gun. He's killing it at the moment. So you're not worried about the round 17 cover. So yeah, I like that particular move, Karen, going Cotter to Tapani. Dungor to Tarpany feels a bit sideways, Pablo, just because Tarpany doesn't cover round 17. I feel like if you're going to sell Isaac, you want to try to go for a round 17 guy, in my opinion. Obviously, if you're a head-to-head player, that's an okay move as well. But if I'm answering from an overall perspective, I don't love it. McInnes or Max King for last reserve. I'd say Max King, Mitchell. Like I've got Max King playing over McInnes, so I'd say Max King. Cotter to Grant, even with Origin coming up. No, Justin, I'd say I'd hold off just because it's, Grant can play game 3, off chance he gets injured. If you bought him this week and then you had to sell him again, it'd be a bit of a pain in the butt. So I feel like I'd maybe just hold off until, say, round 18. And Cotter looks like he should be due in round 19. That's what I've heard. But even then, round 18, you could probably sell him for Grant if you wanted to. Am I straight captaining Cleary? So yeah, quick update, quick reference for anyone who didn't come in earlier. So yeah, in terms of my captaincy and vice captaincy, if it looks like a bit of a drier track on Friday, there's some rain predicted, but honestly though, I feel like that doesn't really concern me too much. The only concern is potentially does Cleary get an early rest, but at home, Roosters still have conceded points. So I feel like if it looks like it's okay weather, I'll probably straight captain Cleary. Otherwise, what I'll do is I'll put the Vice on him and I'll captain Hines instead. So that's what I'm thinking about doing at the moment. You've just put Paps as vice captain. Sorry. I don't mind that, Jessica. A bit of a low risk play having the vice captaincy on him. Munster to Brown, Valea to Anderson. 15 trades left. Yeah, Aaron, I think with your trades, I think you've just about got enough to do that kind of a switch. So yeah, I like those set of trades with those trade numbers that you've got. Is Reece Robson a season-long hold? Yeah, he's been killing it. He has been killing it, Moz. So I think what you can do in your situation with McInnes, you could just carry McInnes through for round 17 and then sell McInnes for Grant. And then I think Robson, because what will happen is with Carl Felt returning, it will mean that the Hammer probably goes to the bench and makes way, I think, with the backline reshuffling. That probably means that Jake Granville comes out of the 17 altogether, and Robson's probably even more locked in for an 80-minute role. So yeah, I think with the minutes, I'd say Robson over McInnes, and I'd probably hold him and then sell McInnes for Grant in the future. Cobbo to Mulatalo and Appy to Barnett. I don't hate that, Bailey. I'm keeping Appy for this week, and I might look to sell him next week, but I don't really have the duel to do it. I'm guessing you'll have the duel to do that. So yeah, I don't mind those set of trades. You're getting into round 17 guys as well. Is Grant Anderson a buy and sell, or is he someone you hold on to as enough? I'd probably see him more as a buy and a hold, David, because the only situations I can see happening is Coates comes back and then he gets out of the team, so it becomes enough, or he just stays in the team due to him being preferred over Eremaya. And then, look, he's a winger for the Storm. It's not the worst team to be a winger on, so he could just be a handy depth option. So yeah, I will see what happens. But yeah, I think I'm viewing him more as enough. Gazaraki, what a man, mate. Great emoji there. Mitchell Ryan poem, Metalhead Smurf poem. Oh my goodness, yep. I should have foreseen that I might have had to have a poem prepared if people were going to start putting this emoji in. Jeez, can we come up with a poem in about 5 seconds? Manly versus Storm. Ryan Pappenhausen's back. Does he come into form? There's the first. Is that a stanza? Is that what they call it in a poem? Roosters versus the Panthers. Is Cleary captain? The answer. Oh, mate, this is awesome. I'm going to leave it at that. There's 2 stanzas for you. There's your poems, Mitchell and Metalhead. Kick out or Tango to Barnett. Probably Targo, Aaron. I think kick out is just about a season keeper. Yeah, Tyler's saying the same thing as well. Should we save some trades if possible and then use the last boost next week, or are there definite grabs this round? That's the thing. I don't see any definite grabs this week. So I'm personally looking at like this week as a bit of a save week. I'm only doing the one trade of Kula to Anderson via duels. And then next week I've got 1 boost left, and I might go really hard at next week. I might boost to get Madison, Paps, and then a couple of cheapies, and that might really bolster up my round 17 numbers, and that might give me a good advantage. So I think I'm definitely trying to hold the boost on for next week, or maybe even round 18 to try and get back in a few Origin guns. Haas for Tarpany or Clemmer? Excuse me. Yeah, look, I know Clemmer covers round 17, but I think Tarpany outscores him. Like if I do some quick math, what is it? We've got 10 rounds to go. 10 rounds, right? Tarpany will play 9 out of the 10. Let's say he averages 70 for the season, so that's 630 points, if my maths is correct. 9 times 70, yeah, 630. Clemmer might play 10 and get you 600. Might get you an average of 60 to 65, which is 650. So I feel like the points are basically equal, but Tarpany's got the upside. So I'd say Tarpany actually in that instance, Lachlan. Is Haas to Barnett sideways? I don't think so, Nick, because I think Haas is probably a fine sell. I'm just holding him because I can cover him with Max King, and I've got low trades. I haven't really got, like, if you sell Haas, I feel like you're not going to get him back. So I don't mind it to boost up your round 17 numbers. I would have entertained that thought a bit more if I was able to do something similar. Unfortunately, though, I don't have the duels to go Haas to a second row forward. I have to buy in the front row forward, which is a bit more of a dead spot. So I don't mind that, Nick. I don't necessarily think it's sideways because you're gaining round 17 number. And Haas, I don't think is going to really be... He's not going to burn you for the back home. Stags to To'o, Cooler to Anderson. Well, Jonty, I do love To'o, and Stags has burnt me, but 17, is it worth Is it worth holding Stags just for the round 17 cover? Ooh, could you not just do it in round 18? I don't know. I know Totto's price is going to get even more expensive. I'm personally thinking I might just have to pay up for him if I need to, but I think Jonty depends. If you're a head-to-head player, I'd say perfectly good trades. If you're overall, I'd just say maybe can you hold off until 18. Do you sell Munster if Mam is your next best 5'8", or is Munster going to be back soon? Thinking of going for Dylan. I'm going to assume that's Dylan Brown. So yeah, Mam is an okay backup 5'8". He's not perfect. Like, I've got Dylan Brown, who I'm happy to play, obviously, in Munster's absence. Munster should be back for round, if not 18, 19 at the latest. So he'll miss this week. He'll miss round 17 with Origin. And then in round 18, the Melbourne Storm play on Sunday. So that's a 1, 2, 3, 4 day turnaround. So he might get a rest in that game. Or he might play reduced minutes potentially. So I don't mind switching Munster to another 5'8", like Dylan Brown, or if you can do it via duels, maybe a Jerome Hughes. But I think you really need to look at your trade count, because, for example, I've got 12 trades left. If I was to do Munster out for Hughes, I'd be on 11. And then I'd be thinking, okay, well, I want to get Munster back. I want to get Grant. I want to get Madison. I want to get Pappenhausen. I might want to get Toto. That's 5 guys with 11 trades. And I'm going to usually have to do a couple of trades alongside some of those to raise the funds. And by that time, I might have like 2 trades left. So it would be really tough in my case. So I think you really need to make a call based on how many trades you've got left. I think that's really the big thing. If you've got, I'd say if you've got 15 plus trades, 15 or more trades, I think I'd do it. Any less, you need to really start being a bit careful with that kind of flipping. Because I did the same thing with Harry Grant, and I'm definitely probably going to want to get him back. Haas to Matto next week, but having bad front row forward depth for the run home. I don't think front row forward is really that spot you need to worry about too much. Like the best IPAP and Tarpany, outside of those two, if you've got like a Max King playing a Tamalolo, they're not going to hurt you too much. So yeah, like next week, I think Haas to Matto is a great trade if Matto's fit. I'm just going to quickly check my Twitter. Just to see if there's anything happening. Well, I've got 20 notifications. There's a lot of stuff happening. Someone must have tagged me in something, and then a big chain of comments has happened. Yeah, let's see. Actually, I've just seen, so that's a good point. Someone who was asked me about buying Harry Grant this week. He probably will play 80 minutes this week, so it could be a good buy. It's just, again, the risk of the injury risk of game 3. So if you've got depth, then yeah, it might be worth it. Okay, there's not really much more there to look at. What's the time? 7:45. So we've got 4 minutes. So answer a few more questions. I can see views have started to drop off just a little bit, which is fair enough. People want to go and watch the footy. I'll be doing the same thing as well. McInnes or Kiraz last reserve. I think I'd go McInnes, Aaron. Bit safer. That chart before was showing that the Bulldogs concede the most points to hookers over the 2022 season. Now, obviously, a lot of that is when they were playing poorly, not playing as bad just now. Whereas Sharks against centre wings have been pretty good defensively, if you go by the stats. So I'd probably say McInnes just about. Going Kula, Schiller for Anderson and Barnett. 13 trades left, 345k in the bank. Thoughts? Yeah, don't mind that. I think Schiller and Kula can definitely go. You're getting into round 17 guys. And you've got a lot of cash in the bank, which I'm going to assume is for you to get back to, say, like Pappenhausen next week. Cotter to Smith or even Nicarima. Is that Jaden Nicarima? Because he is playing. I hope it's not Cody. He is a 205k halfback hooker. You're definitely bringing in Anderson, jumping on Paps early, but don't want to overload on too many Storm players. Yeah, I think in that instance, Matt, I think you can kind of just hold off on that. You don't necessarily have to do it. Next week, what you can do is, I don't think Smith or Nicarima are going to go up massively in price, unless Nicarima's played his third game, I'm not sure. So yeah, I think I would probably hold off on that move, Matt. VC Pap or Grant? James, I would say Grant, because Paps with Ermine on the bench might not play the full 80, whereas Grant looks like he's probably locked in for a full 80-minute game. Cotter to Cook. No, again, I don't love it because I think Cook, we just don't know how he's going to go with Latrell back. Last season, Cook was shoveling the ball on and basically not running the ball at all. Just want to see if the same thing happens again. They have got a tough run home for the rest of the season, so they might just cap his ceiling. Does he get rested? All that stuff. So I feel like unless you really need to, if you're forced to say play a really bad fourth reserve, if you don't sell Cotter, I'd say maybe fine, do it. But I don't think you need to rush into getting Damien Cook. I don't see him as an outright buy for this week. Okay, we've got a couple of minutes to go. Just see if there's any last minute questions. And guys, if you are hopping off and watching the footy, obviously I don't blame you. I'll be doing the same thing in very, very shortly, but do give the stream a like on the way out if you guys enjoy it. Hopefully I was able to address most of, if not all of your questions. Apologies, I can't get to everyone. I know there's a lot of questions coming in, but I'm happy to see a lot of questions. It means a lot of you guys are tuning in and valuing my opinion, which is rightly or wrongly. I appreciate it. Excuse me. Mam, Haas, or Karaz as last reserve. Oh, yeah, I'm having the same issue, Sandy. I'm thinking, oh man, I really don't know. Oh, I'd probably say Haas. The only issue with Haas is that he's got so many lingering issues. Does he pick a knock up and then just like get rested and play like only 20 or 30 minutes? Yeah, I'm starting to think about that too myself. Maybe I don't play Haas. I still think I play Haas because if he's named to play, he's probably just about okay to play. You don't have to make the decision obviously today. You can wait until say tomorrow or even Saturday. But yeah, my gut feel was probably Haas. But yeah, there could be obviously some risk there. Okay, we're about 40 seconds to go, so I feel like we've probably got in everyone's questions. Thanks for the stream, Aman. Martin says good luck this week. Thank you so much, Aman. You rock. Mate, I don't know if I rock, but shout out to Metalhead Smurf. I do also, I don't mind also dabbling in a bit of metal music myself, if I must say. Went to a Tool concert in Feb this year or last year. It might have been last year, pre-COVID. Anyway, it was awesome. Alright guys, well enough about my music interests. I'll leave you guys to it. I'm going to end the stream there. Good luck everyone for round 16. Hopefully catch you all on Sunday for the wrap up. See you all then.